speakers is delayed in traffic, so we'll be starting in about 5 minutes. Thank you for your patience.
As in, same. The one at Alice Cooper, they only gave me 20 minutes.
guy's unfortunate. He's
Yeah. I'll bring them back. So what's the best way? Yeah. There are mics, you can just pick them up. Feel free to pass the mic to somebody else. That's the best way. So when you say that you I'll use trainer. Yeah, it works out here. It doesn't work out. Really?
So we do.
Well, it's easy.
I was, yes. It's matched with
What are you going to go to Garrett's?
Good.
Person dies in the United States. A person dies.
Yeah, normally it's starts off right away, but we can start this. You'll be hanging around. You'll be hanging around. I will.
Can you all hear me okay? Yes, great. Well, I'm Scott Silverman, which may be absolutely nothing to most of you, and that's fine. My job is just to welcome everyone. We expect a few more people coming in, a major accident on Highway 5. Not our fault, because we're all here. Thank you, congratulations. I want to thank our panel for being here today as well. And I'm going to introduce you to our MC, Mary, who is then going to introduce our opening speaker, who's then going to sit with us for a little while, which is really nice, our district attorney, Stephan. And then we're going to meet our keynote speaker, Johnston. And I want to thank all of you for being here. But before we start, if you don't mind, I'd like everyone just to close your eyes. You too, Mom. Close your eyes, don't go to sleep. Just take a deep breath and just think about the people who have been impacted by the topics we're going to discuss today. And hopefully when you leave here today, you'll have some new information, renewed information, or information that will be helpful to help us save more lives. Thanks again for being here. Mary?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Living Undeterred tour. This is like the how many stops have you had? This is, I don't know, you've been going for 95 days. They're changing the narrative on mental health, substance abuse, and addiction. And I'm very honored that you asked me to be here today. My name is Mary Godwin. I'm a local Carlsbad resident, and recovery and all of the topics we're discussing today are very near and dear to my heart and a passion of mine. So very honored and privileged to be here today. I want to just tell you briefly about this Living Undeterred tour. It's an initiative to bring attention to the mental health and substance use epidemics in this country. It was started by Iowa-based nonprofit Choices Network Limited, and over the course of 95 days, and I think he said he's 92% through, the founder, Jeff Johnston, and his team has been traveling across the country in the RV, it's not up anymore, but it was up earlier, in an RV across the country, raising awareness and funds for mental health and substance abuse use disorders. And we'll be hearing from Jeff in a little bit. We have an esteemed panel that I want to introduce you to right now. Probably need my glasses to read this list. We have we'll introduce her in a minute. We have Ingrid Alvarez-Ron. She's Pathways 2.0 Program Manager at NAMI. Yeah, did I say that right? San Diego and Imperial Counties. We have James Fontaine. He's the prosecutor with San Diego County DA. Dr. Igor Kutsunok, Professor of Psychiatry at the University of California, San Diego. Cindy Cipriani, is she here yet? No, she's stuck in traffic, okay. She's Assistant U.S. Attorney. We have Megan Patrick Thompson. She is the Program Director at North Coastal Mobile Crisis Response. Ryan Hampton, author and addiction recovery advocate. Rocky Heron, retired DEA agent. And of course, Scott Silverman, who you just met, author and founder of Confidential Recovery. Next, I'm going to introduce a very esteemed guest we have today, DA Stephan. As a prosecutor, district attorney, Stephan has been delivering justice for victims of crimes in San Diego County for nearly 3 decades. She's recognized as a national leader in the fight against human trafficking. As the county's top law enforcement official, she leads an office of about 1,000 employees who pursue fair and equal justice and keep San Diego as one of the safest urban counties in the U.S. She's leading efforts to address the issue of homelessness and those with mental health challenges who come in contact with the criminal justice system. So I'm very proud to introduce Dr. Stephan. Thank you.
Well, with all the powers they say I have, I still can't control the traffic or car accidents or anything like that. But I'm so pleased and thank you for your patience, and hopefully everybody will make it here safely and will be able to join us. Well, when my friend Scott Silverman and my friend Bob Elliott contacted me to be here today, I really jumped at the chance. Whenever I have a chance to stand next to heroic people that are faced with incredible challenges and loss that's unimaginable of someone they love, and they're able to still move through that despite all of the pain and try to do something good for someone else despite everything that they've experienced. I want to be there in that room with that person. And today that person is Johnston of Living Undeterred, and I wanted to make sure I'm here to hear him and to also thank him for coming to San Diego County to share his message of hope and his message of resilience and the challenging us all to do better when it comes to mental health and substance abuse. So thank you, Jeff, and I look forward to hearing you and being with you. So what I want to give you, you have an incredible panel. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen a panel that of this size. Scott, what did you do? How many arms did you twist? I don't know. But pretty amazing panel that's here, and including James Fontaine, who's the chief of our narcotics division. And we have a requirement for our chiefs at the DA's office. They have to come at the job with a skill set that's pretty deep and complex. But they also have to come to the job with a heart, not just the skill set and the intelligence and the mind power and the courtroom skill set, but with the heart to make sure that we leave everything that we touch in a better place. And that means that addressing this issue of overdoses, fentanyl overdoses, and substance abuse and mental health, when it intersects with the criminal justice system, it requires an approach that's multidisciplinary and multifaceted. It's not enough to be able to prosecute the drug dealers that are selling this poison, many times knowing that it is poison, and sometimes in at least 7 cases that we handled, knowing that it just killed someone, something you just sold, but still being ready to sell it to the next person and causing a family generations of grief. So not only do we need to do that part well, we need to also work on the prevention angle and be good partners with the community on partnerships. But I just have to start off and tell you that this fight needs to be really stepped up. It is nowhere where it needs to be. We're talking about, if we just talk about fentanyl, not including methamphetamine, which is devastating communities, not including other substances that are devastating communities, just talking about fentanyl, and the fact that in the United States, it's the #1 killer of people 18 to 45 years old. That is just, if you just stop for a second, that report came out from the CDC and it matches the numbers locally. Over 100,000 people died in 2021 to overdoses, and that we've never seen that number before. That's an increase of about 26% from the year before. But then a large percentage of that is due to fentanyl. And when you look at a graph, you'll see that these numbers, the fentanyl killing young people 18 to 45, goes all the way to the end. It just finishes the graph. And then about halfway, we see car accidents, we see COVID, we see cancer, diabetes, all sorts of other causes are nowhere near this #1 cause. What did we see? And believe me, I think we should pay attention to all these things. And I'm glad that television informed people about COVID and the dangers of COVID. But where was the daily news when it comes to the substance that killed more people, 18 to 45, at the prime of their life, with 12 people under the age of 17 in San Diego County last year, 14 to 17-year-olds, 12 of them lost to us. Where is that national news? Where is the national health emergency when it comes to this issue? Dr. Gupta, who is the drug czar for our nation, came to San Diego because apparently we are doing some things right, despite how hard it is and how many deaths. I guess I have a higher standard for doing things right. My standard is we don't have people die that shouldn't die. You know, we shouldn't have people suffering from mental illness in silence because they're afraid of stigma of being bullied. You know, that's, to me, when we get there, I'll kind of declare a victory. Right now, we're just fighting every day, but according to Dr. Gupta, we are doing a lot right. So he came to San Diego to learn what it is that we're doing right in our partnerships, our multidisciplinary collaboration, and our approach to these issues. And I was happy to share, I was very proud of many of the efforts and glad to share with Dr. Gupta, but I also was very honest with him and told him that we need to actually treat this like the emergency that it is. And that means, you know, we know that the number one substance that went down in use in recent history is nicotine, right? And how did we bring down the use of nicotine? It's by public awareness, by educating, by trusting our kids with the information, with the health information, feeding it to them on different platforms that they can actually understand, whether it's television ads, whether it's school education. They understood the dangers of nicotine. But where is this multi-layered education that's tapping at every point in our colleges, our universities, our schools, our grade schools, middle schools, high schools, that addresses this? So they're going to be great mathematicians and historians, but they might take a pill that looks very harmless, that is stamped with an Oxy or Percocet or a Xanax, looks official, that they buy on Snapchat, and they're not going to be with us anymore. But nobody told them that. We taught them a whole bunch of math and English and everything else. So if I sound a little bit passionate or even a little bit upset about this, I am. When I've been doing this for 32 years, and I've made sure that I never leave the ground level. The ground level to me is where the pain and the harm is, and being able to look in the eyes of these parents and family members that have lost so much keeps us motivated to move forward. But I do want to make sure that while my message started with this, these terrible statistics, including that we went from, before the pandemic, from 152 overdose deaths all the way to 462 in 2020, and in 2021 we surpassed 800 at 817. The good news is it looks like in 2022 we are not tripling and quadrupling like we've done over the last years. It looks like our combined efforts and being able to hit it and to keep conducting these forums, including a virtual high school forum that we did that got transmitted to all of the high schools that many of your esteemed panelists were a part of, are starting to seep into the groundwater. And so we're seeing the numbers begin to stabilize and hopefully then begin to go down with all of the efforts. Because we simply cannot have this situation, and we have to treat it like the epidemic that it is. The county joined with me recently to declare a public health emergency in San Diego County, which means when it comes to fentanyl, which means that more resources, more money, more public awareness, more treatment monies are going to come into this issue, which is a super positive point. But I want to tell you about a couple of exciting things that have happened in San Diego. as soon as, I took office in 2018, we organized a mental health symposium. Why? Because it was clear to me that a lot of our criminal justice system was intersecting with untreated mental health. And with that, substance abuse. And I'm not gonna decide for you whether what came first, the chicken or the eggs, substance abuse. You have some organic mental illness, whether substance abuse is used to mitigate that people are taking, or whether some of the substances are unleashing mental illness. I'll let the doctors speak to that, but whatever it is, we are where we are, and we have this joinder of mental health and substance abuse that comes together. And then the criminal justice system comes in when it's untreated with really dire and unsatisfactory consequences. So we joined with NAMI, I see some of our NAMI partners here today, to host a 200-person symposium. And what we did is something that I learned early on in my career, fighting human trafficking, sex assault, and all these other hidden things that are hidden in shame without anybody talking about them, is if you don't memorialize everything on paper and make it a part of your open, not hidden mission and world, then nothing happens, nothing moves forward. So we put together a blueprint, and believe it or not, and I know some of you remember this, we discovered that, you could have somebody who breaks their arm, who's gonna survive, it's gonna be fine. How many kids have broken arms, they heal. They're able to instantaneously access healthcare. Any time of day or night, their parents can take them to an urgent care and they're gonna get help. But if a family is suffering from a mental health crisis, it better happen sometime between 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock on a Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If it happens on the weekend or it happens at night, you're out of luck. There is nowhere to take your family member unless you go to an emergency room, where you wait behind the heart attacks, you wait behind everything else, and you don't actually get the treatment that you need. So we changed that in San Diego. We developed a concept of urgent care for mental health that's 24/7. 2 have already opened and many more are on their way. Hundreds of families have accessed this night and day. And I see them in the community. And this was an idea that was born out of this idea that to lower stigma, you have to be able to have health care for mental illnesses or mental crises outside of the hours that we think they should be open, so that they're available day and night, so we can remove that stigma. That was an incredibly positive thing. And there's a second door for law enforcement to be able to drop off people instead of dropping them in jail, where they're not gonna receive that care for small nonviolent offenses. They're able to bring them also to the crisis stabilization centers for care. We need many of these to come in place. The Surgeon General, after COVID and after the isolation of our kids, declared that mental health is even more of an issue. It's a crisis for our kids now. We know that from Radies Children's Hospital, but what are we gonna do about it? We need to be ready and able to treat and to treat families with dignity and respect, and not differentiate whether your health issue comes from your mind or it comes from where your heart sits or your arm sits. It's all one body, and there should not be any differentiation in the level and availability of care. So, I'm very proud of this community, very proud to work with everybody up here. I'll continue to fight this fight on a multidisciplinary level. Tomorrow night, we're having an all event in Bonita for the South Bay region, and educating parents and families. We've done a lot of that to try to save lives. And if you have ideas please bring them to us, and if we can work and partner with you to save lives and make sure everybody gets their dignity and respect in this community and is not stigmatized or afraid because their health issue doesn't happen to be something that everyone can see on the outside, but is something that they still need help with. So thank you, and I'm honored to be with you.
Thank you so much today, Stephan. Wow, a lot of passion there, and I think all of us have that same passion for these subjects. That's why we're all here today. It's now time to introduce our keynote speaker and the reason we're all here today. His name is Johnston. He is an author, entrepreneur, and advocate. He lost his son Seth in 2016 to fentanyl poisoning. In that moment of grief and time of crisis in his own life, he realized that he had two roads to go down. He could go down the pity me, poor me road of anger and despair, or he could turn that grief into something powerful to help other people, which is clearly what he did. He used that as a motivation to get in a trailer and what do you call that big thing? A mobile home and travel across the country and bring this message to educate people and to inspire people and help end the stigma that is related to mental health and substance use disorders. He wrote a book called This One's For You, which is an inspirational journey through addiction, death, and meaning. I believe there's some copies up front that you can get at the end of this. And he founded Choices Network, which then led to this Living Undeterred tour. So without further ado, I will introduce you to Jeff Johnston, and he can tell you more about his story.
We have a video to play. My computer, like it always does, right? Let's see. All right.
Every 2 minutes, a person dies in the United States from overdose, suicide, or alcoholism. These are our sons and daughters, our moms and dads, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors and coworkers. On October 4th, 2016, it was our son, Seth, who died from fentanyl poisoning at the age of 23. On June 29th, 2021, it was my lovely wife, Prudence, who lost her battle with alcoholism at the age of 46. Seth was like any other kid, athletic, musician, writer, funny. Yet he died in a seedy hotel room in Waterloo, Iowa. This wasn't who he was. Prudence was a great mother, a wonderful wife. Yet she lost her fight with alcoholism due to the grief of losing a child. Some mountains are just too high to climb, unfortunately. 2 lost lives. So unnecessary. Small, seemingly innocent choices can often lead us to massive, destructive consequences. It's obvious we have a problem in this country, a mental health issue of epic proportions. This is happening on every street, in every city, in every state. Yet we still have a choice. We can choose to be a victim, or we can choose to be a victor. Pity, sympathy, we have no time for that. What we do have time for is empathy, compassion, love, and strength. Sharing stories can help build a strong foundation. It can provide us the opportunity to adapt and evolve, to become better, not bitter. Together, we can raise awareness. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can save lives. This is the purpose behind the Living Undeterred tour. Living Undeterred certainly doesn't mean living untested. I am tested every single day, as are you. We don't want to just survive. We want to thrive. Everyone has a story. What's your story? Everyone has a why. What's your why? You find your why, and you'll find your way. Keep living undeterred. Thrive. Everyone has a story. What's your story? Everyone has a why. What's your why? You find your why, and you'll find your way. Keep living undeterred.
Hey, thank you, everybody. I'm Jeff Johnston. Let me steal the mic. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Stephan, appreciate it very much. Where'd you go up front? Sorry. And I want to thank Scott for setting this up. I reached out to Scott a while ago on social media, and he was all for this event. And what an esteemed, this just looks like a highly intelligent committee, doesn't it, here? But I'm honored to be here. You guys have forgotten more than I'll ever know on this side of the fence. So I'm going to start with a sentence that I like. I got to pull it up here real quick. I'm not an IT guy, so I'll find it here in a second. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to put up the PowerPoint. So I got a sentence that I like that I think embodies what living undeterred stands for, and its purpose becomes passion when it gets personal. And you have to say that a few times. The first time I came up with that, I wrote it down. I was really excited. That was on the back of all of our T-shirts. So purpose becomes passion when it gets personal. And for me, obviously, this is very personal. And I think what happens for a lot of us is we go through our lives looking for meaning and purpose, right? And for some, like my two boys, Roman and Ian, it was revealed to them at a young age through death. And for me, it was revealed through death once again, but at the age of 50. And so, as I go through my presentation today, think about that phrase, purpose becomes passion when it gets personal, and how that applies to your own life in regards to looking for meaning and purpose. I